ASMR Magical Tools. Hello, Gemini. Hello. So for the mutable signs this month, I will be lighting a cone of this white sage incense, white sage. I will either do this for all the cardinal, all the fixed, or all the mutable signs in the course of a month, because the incense is very intense and very strong, and it will fog out my apartment intensely if I tried to burn it for every sign. There we go. Alright, Gemini, so the first deck that I'm going to use for your reading today is this Flower Magic Oracle card deck, and I really love the designs of these cards. It reminds me of the aesthetics of the late 90s. Which is, of course, a time near and dear to my heart. Alright, Gemini. You have gotten the card Cyclamen. Cyclamen for self-esteem. Self-esteem. It's time to shine. Draw on your self-esteem. Polish up your confidence and make it gleam. Get a grip on life and take a firm hold. You're being called upon to step up, be bold. You are so fantastic. You are such a star. Please let your light shine, both near and far. This is all about having confidence in your worth and abilities. It is about time you had total respect for you. Don't judge yourself so harshly. Have the belief, have the faith, have the total and utmost confidence that you can do whatever you set your mind to. And while we are about it, you are gorgeous and fabulous too, and don't you forget it. I don't care what that little nagging voice in your ear says, ignore it. Listen instead to your heart, and take heed of the words spoken by the real inner you, the one you keep hidden, the one you keep pushing down. That inner voice knows your true worth. It is very wise, so pay attention to it. Count all the good things about yourself. I bet once you sit down and really think about it, there are a lot. Don't do yourself an injustice. So I'm going to take this card and put it right over here by the lion. And then I'm going to wrestle with these boxes. Put the cards back in there. They're really pretty. And so next we are going to bring out the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck. And for those of you who are fans of this deck, there is the Dreamscapes Oracle deck, and there will be the Luna Tarot coming out later this year. And I know some people, their criticism of the the Ethereal Visions deck was that there wasn't a lot of ethnic diversity in the deck, and so both of those other decks have much more ethnic diversity, so I definitely recommend them. And I love Matt Hughes' artwork, so I love working with these cards. But I'm going to lay out the Celtic Cross spread. Celtic Cross. And then we'll put the 12 houses spread on top using the Lenormand cards, the Vaporwave Lenormand deck that I designed, and that one is available on Etsy if you are interested in purchasing it. As you can see, I have tiny little infant hands, and it makes it very difficult for me to shuffle these large decks of cards. I'm going to be very brave this month and not split the Ethereal Visions deck up into smaller stacks. Sometimes I will cut the cards, but I won't. Sometimes I have to shuffle it into 3 stacks and then shuffle the stacks separately because my hands are so small. So we've got the future here, the goal or destiny, your perspective on the situation, an outside perspective, your hopes and fears, and the final outcome. Alright, Gemini, let's start. I started in the past for Taurus's reading, and I think I'm going to do that for you too. There we go. So, let's see what is in the past here. And we have the 7 of Cups in the reverse position. 7 of Cups in the reverse. Seven of Cups is about having many, many options that are open to you. Some of them are good, and some of them are not so great for you. So it could be that since this has happened, that your options have narrowed down. Or it could be that you've chosen one of these options already. Let's find out more. So, crossing the current position. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Since this is the crossing card, this could be a person that you are very close to, who is an earth sign, or somebody who is very stable financially. This could also be you standing in financial stability. That's a possibility. So, you are signified in the current position by the Hermit Card, Gemini. The Hermit is a card about looking within to shine your light out to the world. You can see the star of illumination there. But it requires a great deal of introspection in order to determine what you should be putting out into the world. So the Hermit card energy is very much about that. Having these two cards together, so the Hermit card is Virgo's card, and the Queen of Pentacles being Earth sign energy. You could be a Gemini who also has Virgo in their chart, or other Earth sign energy in your chart. Look to how on the Seven of Cups card, way up here in the corner, we have this skull, right? And on the corner of the Hermit card, we have another skull. So that doesn't necessarily mean that there is a death imminent. But what that does signify is a transformation. That these are transformative processes. The Seven of Cups being a situation in which you have several options open to you, and the Hermit being a situation in which you are going within yourself to determine your way forward. So, for those of you who watch my videos regularly, you know that this card represents your perspective, and this card over here represents an outside perspective on the current situation, and that the card here in the middle represents the truth, the overall truth of the situation. So off here to one side, we see that you are showing up as the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Swords are air sign energy, so that definitely represents you, Gemini. But the Queen of Swords can be a very manipulative person, and not necessarily emotionally manipulative. That would be Queen of Cups in reverse. But more like manipulative of situations, situationally manipulative, unscrupulous, a very dangerous person, someone who's not afraid to behead a few people to get what they want, and that could be how you are feeling in the current situation. We'll look and see if we can find out a little bit more about why that might be the case, Gemini. So, from the outside perspective, we have the Three of Cups here. And the Three of Cups can be a card about a close-knit friend group. Close-knit friend group. So far we have Pentacles here. We've got a couple of cups. And we also have air energy here with the Queen of Swords. So others see you as being a good friend and very loyal. But you see yourself as being kind of mercenary at this time. Let's find out a little bit more about the truth of the matter. And we now have some fire energy entering the reading with the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands. This card is about waiting for energies that you have put out to return to you, waiting for those energies to come back to you and for your projects to reach fruition. Waiting for your projects to reach fruition. Let's look at the future. I want to look here first. So, this is your hopes and fears, and this represents the conditions in which the future will take place. And we have there the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is a card about financial stability. And more importantly than that, financial independence. Also here in the future, we see the Judgment card in the reverse. So this could be a test in the future that you are not yet aware of the conditions under which this will occur. This could also mean that there could be a test you are anticipating in the future that never ends up coming to be. The Judgment is like all about your certifications in life. So it can be a certification like passing the bar exam, but it can also be a certification like enlightenment, reaching a state of enlightenment, or the rapture, or any of those things, depending on your belief system. So those things being in the future and being in the reverse like that kind of shows me that there are elements of that situation which you are not yet able to see. Now we're going to look up here. So down here in the current position, this represents the Imam Sili, which is the lowest point on the astrological chart, and represents the origins of future situations. This is the origin from which your midheaven, which is going to be up here in the goal or destiny position. All of these things down here are going to cause these events to occur. Now, remember earlier how I did bring up the Queen of Cups in the reverse, and how she can be an emotionally manipulative person. So, in the current situation, you see yourself here as the Queen of Swords in the reverse, somebody who can be very mercenary, very merciless towards others. And in this midheaven position, which represents your goal or destiny, we have the Queen of Cups coming out in the reverse. Now, this could be a shift from this very mercenary attitude into a more emotionally manipulative way of controlling people. Or this Queen of Cups could represent somebody who is coming into your life. They could be a water sign, they could be a very nurturing person, and your destiny might lie with them. But just like with the Judgment card here in the reverse, you do not yet see the situations in which the two of you shall meet and interact with each other. So that is possible. It does look like you have put out energy for certain things here, and it could be that this Queen of Cups represents the return that you are waiting for. So over here in the final outcome, let's see what we have going on. We have the Eight of Pentacles, and that is also in the reverse. So all of these cards that are coming out reversed, and they are coming out in these future positions, I do think it's possible that, so the Eight of Pentacles represents a degree of success in business and in a established career. This is like getting tenure as a professor, or getting to, getting promoted up through a workplace and having been there maybe like 20 or so years, depending on the longevity of that business. Some types of business have greater longevity than others. So this is a possibility that could be happening for you at some point in the future. You could be getting a professional certification that then leads to this long-term career. That is very possible for some of you. This is, of course, a general reading, so it could be different for everyone. One thing that is indicated, though, is that you do not yet see yourself on that path. So this could be something that is going to open up for you in the near future, and could be predicated by this Three of Wands, something coming in for you. I do already see here with the Queen of Pentacles that there is some level of stability in your life, even if that is being provided by a partner. Okay, Gemini, so now we're going to move on to the Lenormand Deck. The Lenormand Deck. And again, these are the cards which I had designed. So we're going to start out in the first house of self and beginnings. If you are a Gemini rising, that's going to be your first house. Let's see what we have here. We have the book. Now the book has to do with secrets and knowledge. So there's been a lot of career energy in this reading, and we have the book coming out with this Seven of Cups in the reverse, which definitely looks to me like you had gone through quite a few course of your educational career. So if you decided to go to college, you might have changed your major a few times, or you might have looked at different options that would have been available to you as careers once you graduated as well, and tried to use your educational experience to put yourself toward different goals. The second house has to do with financial stability, your finances and your stability, and stands in opposition to the 8th house, which is other people's finances. And the card that we have jumping out for that is the Sun, which is an excellent card to get. Like I said, you've got the Queen of Pentacles here, so it does look like there's a lot of stability and potentially that you're doing quite well financially. The third house is Gemini's native house. It has to do with communication, can have to do with siblings, and has to do with your immediate surroundings, including short-distance travel. And remember, we are down here in the territory of the Imam Silai, so looking at what events are going to lead us here to this future with the Queen of Cups in the reverse. She might end up upright at some point in the future. These cards are not difficult to shuffle, I promise. I'm just not paying very good attention. Alright. So here in the third house, we have the Lily. You could be dealing with an elderly relative at this time. The Lily has to do with purity and innocence, but can also represent elderly people, and so could be an elderly relative, or an elderly neighbor, possibly too, or communication from an older person, a much older person. Or going over to an elderly person's house. That's also possible. The fourth house is about your home and your family life. Home and family, home and family. And we have the Scythe coming out here, so you could be getting ready to move into a different house. You could be moving out of a situation, or you could be cutting ties with family members. And we'll find out more about the outcomes of the current situations when we get up here into the 9th and 10th houses. So then the fifth house over here by the Three of Cups represents creativity, romance, and can also have to do with childhood. So it can be your childhood and your relationship with your parents. in your life. And we have here the ship. So, definitely could be, if this elderly relative is a parent, there could definitely be a trip to go see your parent that's coming up now quite strongly in the cards. Because, too, this is a sextile position between the lily and the ship. So the sixth house is your health and also has to do with daily routines. And we have the dog. The dog is about loyalty. So, you could be very loyal to your routines, loyal to your schedule, loyal to your health, loyal to the body that carries you. The seventh house. Well, before I get to the seventh house, there is a square here between the third house and the sixth house. So there could be loyalty also between you and this elderly person. That's why you're going to visit them. And there might be things to do with your health and their health that are linked. Like maybe they had a congenital condition and they passed it down to you. Something like that. The seventh house is partnerships. So this can be business partnerships, but it can also have to do with open enemies and court cases, because we are in opposition to the first house, which focuses on the self. So the seventh house focuses on other people. And we have, interestingly enough, we have the self coming out in the seventh house. Now this is over here by judgment, and also remember that we had the Nine of Pentacles crossing as your hopes and fears. So what that indicates to me in this position is that you are going to maintain your loyalty to yourself even when you are dealing with other people. That is also indicated down here by this Queen of Swords in the reverse, though. That person will definitely be loyal to themselves. It could be that there are health issues or things going on with your daily routine that are wrapped up in all of this too. Like maybe you need to eat at certain times, or you need to go to bed at certain times in order to function properly. So that even if you're on vacation, you have to kind of stick to a schedule in order to make sure that you have a good time. Now, the eighth house has to do with other people's resources, and it also has to do with transitions. So, death, endings, and beginnings. And can also have to do with sex, because physical intimacy is a resource that is held by other people, is one way of looking at it. We have the tree there, so there could be someone has been around for a long time, somebody who has been part of your life for a long time, a long-term transition. I know that kind of doesn't make sense, but I mean, you could see your whole life as one big transition. The tree is an energy of longevity, and it can also represent things that happened like a long time ago. So somebody might have had their estate, for example, set up for a long time. Like maybe you were put into somebody's will when you were like a baby, even some kind of energy like that. Now we're getting into the ninth house. The ninth house is everything that you do to elevate yourself, and can relate to academia, can relate to long distance travel. It's in opposition to our third house down here, and can also relate to your spirituality and spiritual practices. So, in the ninth house, we have the letter. And I'm kind of getting the sense that this could be a will, a last will and testament, or news of a last will and testament. Not necessarily the case. It could be an acceptance letter into a college also, or an acceptance letter to get a job, an offer letter. And it is up there by that Queen of Cups in reverse. So the Queen of Cups could be somebody that you would be working for or with at this new job. And they could just now be reaching out to you about it, possibly in this month of May. So the 10th house has to do with your work and career life, and it's up here in the midheaven position, but is very close to this 8 of Pentacles here, so we'll find out more about that. At the same time, it is in opposition to the 4th house down here, where we had the scythe come out. And we have the anchor. So the anchor represents a situation which is very firmly established. It doesn't necessarily have to have been occurring for a long period of time, but it's very secure. It's a very secure position. And that also is indicated here by the 8 of Pentacles. As I mentioned, it's probably showing up in the reverse here because it is in the future. Now we're going to look at the 11th house. The 11th house has to do with your social groups. It has to do with iconoclastic new ideas. And things like that. Novelty. But also group dynamics, and is in opposition to the 5th house here, where we have the ship. And up here in the 11th house, we have the mouse. So the mouse is about erosion. It could be that your social groups are eating away at you. Or the 11th house can even be about social media. And it could be that social media, what people post on there, is eroding your self-esteem. Remember, bringing this card back from the very beginning of the reading. Let's look at the 12th house now. The 12th house is your psychic intuition and also has to do with endings of situations. That one doesn't feel right. It'll come back out if it's supposed to. Alright, so we have the ring. Now, the ring can be about marriage, but it could also be about a business contract. So, signing a contract to work at a place, signing some kind of agreement to work at a place. This kind of comes into the same context as we have the Judgment card over here in the future. Being deemed, being given the certification, being deemed fit to serve in this position is kind of what I'm seeing here. And that could be a number of different scenarios. It's going to be different for all of you. I do see a lot of career energy here, but I also see things like the Queen of Cups coming out and this Queen of Pentacles. That could be related to your relationships. So take that as you will. Gemini, thank you so much for joining me today for your May 2021 tarot reading. For you Geminis who are experiencing a solar return during the month of May, I would like to wish you a very happy birthday. I know some of you have birthdays in late May. If you would like to submit questions for future Q&A videos, I have a link to a Google sheet down in the description where you can submit those questions anonymously. You also have the option to leave your name, but I wanted to make it so that it would be totally anonymous if that's how you chose to ask the question. I hope that you have an excellent evening, week, and month, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.